Hello, everyone at home. We're just starting now, so we have a room full of people and ready to go. So I have a question from Nana from outside, but she may not be listening quite yet, so I'll leave that. Carmen, would you like to ask your question first?
Yes, please. My question, can you elaborate a little bit more about what the Buddha meant by bhavana, please?
Is the understanding about what is seen and what is seeing right now? Should it be understood, realized as it is? And that is bhavana, from nothing, none at all, into a little bit of understanding in a moment, on and on. Otherwise, it cannot grow, it cannot develop to the degree that it can instantly understand the truth of what is there, different one seeing and that which is seen, or any moment. Only the reality which arises to experience and that which is experienced from life to life, and only through 6 doorways. He taught about what are there, but what can be known without doorway, like seeing right now. What can understand it? Because understanding is different from ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to have a little more understanding, to have a little more less and less ignorance, it has to be only understanding itself.
By conditions.
By conditions. That's why it takes quite how long to realize the truth. That is patience, khanti and viriya, adhidana, satya, and so on. So firm enough. And only right understanding can understand the level of understanding that even now we heard a lot about. Now there must be a reality which arises and experiences an object right now. But as long as that reality does not appear, it's only thinking about it, consider the truth of it, or even that which is seen does not appear as it is. Whatever is seen or heard does not appear well, because so many things together right now. But when whatever appears well, it has to be only one reality. Now hardness appears, but not as well, because there are other objects seen too, or heard, or thought about. That's why when it appears well, little by little, stage by stage, it has to be understanding how, not I, but understanding itself, and the reality which arises to support it. There are so many different Intl.Dhamma, the factors to develop to the degree that it can realize the truth. So hearing the teachings, considering it, we are in the world of nimitta, with no understanding that when the truth is there, it must be different, beyond expectation or imagination at all. That's why Panya can be at that moment to understand. Otherwise, what's the use of even what appear, even only one, without understanding? For example, moment before seeing, it's there for sure, but it's not known. But when it's there with understanding, it can understand the different conditions for even the reality which arises to experience one object at a moment is quite different. For example, at birth and on, and we can know that it's time of being asleep and waking up, different. But there must be a reality which experiences from birth on and on, arising and falling away, experiences different objects by conditions. So when one is asleep, when one is quite fast asleep, nothing appears at all. But it's there. So at this moment, it's there. It experiences as one is sleeping, but the object is different. So it doesn't matter at all what object is different, changing from one characteristic to another. It arises and experiences the object exactly the same as first moment. And moment when it doesn't see, only the condition for it to experience is different. So it experiences the object as usual, but the object is different by conditions. That's why it never change. It arises to be the chief of experiencing. Do you like this? See? Yes, it's that the object which experiences object. So attachment arises, experience that object, but it has its characteristic. It is attached instantly to the object which is there. It has the same object as that which is that object, but it's different from the reality which just arises and experiences the object. That's why there are so many different reality which can experience the object, but it experiences the object in its own way. Attachment is attached, aversion is not attachment.
And when the Buddha said, don't do wrong, do good and purify your mind, did he meant Bhavana with that?
And did he say anything about parami and understanding, right understanding and wrong understanding? Not only just purify, but what can purify?
Understanding.
Only. Stage by stage. We cannot jump to realize the truth that now it's there appearing, nothing at all, only it experiences an object and the object cannot appear together. So the citta appears well as itself, that which experiences no shape, no form, no color, nothing, no word. That's why even that which is now experiencing the object from moment to moment cannot be known to ignorance at all.
Can you say that again?
Whatever is there now does not appear as it is to ignorance, but to right understanding only when it's there, right understanding. It's different from ignorance. Because now no understanding of that which experiences the object, just heard about it, it's there now. But what appears is the object that citta experiences. So when will citta appear? Only to understanding. What level? Not intellectual understanding, but it has to develop. And this is in Pali, bhavana. The development of understanding. If we use any other word, is there any understanding of that which is now there to be known, but it cannot be known? The reality of it just arises to experience the object and then fall away. No matter citta or cetasika, they arise to experience the same object when they arise together. Experience the same object by different function, characteristic. And that is the teachings of the enlightened one about that which is now not known to be known. Otherwise, how can there be the understanding of what is there right now as it is? That's why learning to understand how enormous accumulation of ignorance and attachment and mana and whatever is there to be known little by little, not just by intellectual understanding, but directly is aware with understanding of what is there as natural. Hardness cannot be changed, it's there, but no understanding of it. And when it is the object of understanding, only that hardness, until it appears well to be known, that it's not that which experiences it. Is it true? Only that, just to understand what is there as it is. Otherwise, can there be the understanding? Even we use the word understanding it, but understand what? Each word should be considered so very carefully, again and again and again.
And what is understanding?
Understanding what is there now, experiences an object, no one. Is it true? Understanding what is there as it is, that it does not appear well yet. But the truth is the truth. That's why there are different degrees of understanding, to have firm confidence of the truth, to be truthful to the truth. Satya Barami, no one, but only be truthful to the truth more and more, again and again, little by little, to understand what is there now. No one sees, but there is a reality conditioned to arise and see, and then gone, never to return. To understand life, it's just the same as eons and eons ago, and even now of in the future. That which arises to experience the object cannot be other thing else. The chief of experiencing the object. Without it, no world at all.
So without the development of understanding, there can never be the purifying. There can never be the purifying of the mind. And without the purifying of the mind, there can never be the gradual removal and eradication of what is bad, of the defilements, and the development of all that is good. It's only through the development of understanding which leads to the purifying of the mind.
So am I now purifying? Not at all.
I'd like to just add a couple of words to, if I may, to Carmen's question. As Ajahn mentioned, bhavana is sometimes translated as development, as a noun, not as a verb to develop. It's a noun, but simply it means increase, the increase of something. And so we find it in the context of samatha bhavana and vipassana bhavana, the increase of samatha and the increase of insight. Some people think that because it is translated as also as development, that it implies the doing of something by someone. But that's not the situation. As I say, it simply means increase, although it has a particular reference to increase in wholesome mental states. And apart from the reference I've just given to samatha bhavana and vipassana bhavana, we find it also mentioned, or the term is also used in the kinds of development development by, in the kinds, how understanding is developed. One way is by hearing the teachings, suttamaya panya, and another is by reflecting on the teachings, and that is bhavana maya panya, because bhavana also has the connotation of increase by means of thought or reflection. And there are other
Internet.
references also I won't mention, but I find it's most helpful to think of it as just meaning increase.
Yeah, thank you a lot. Thank you. And so you say it is like understanding the present moment. So let's say I'm listening to Jonathan, and in that moment, by conditions, so not pushing the mind, but by conditions, I feel the hardness of the microphone. The microphone is thinking, I know, but I feel hardness. Am I on the good way? Is that? I know it's not a really intelligent question, but is that what you mean with experiencing the present moment?
And what is just a moment? Only one. See?
Okay. But I know we don't do anything to achieve anything.
Thinking is not seeing.
Yeah.
Different moment.
Yes. But if I
Touch.
Hardness?
Not seeing.
No.
Not thinking.
But
a moment of touching. No one. Only that which arises and experiences that which is touched. Before that, it also experienced the object arising and falling away, experiencing all the time. But the object changed from that which does not appear through the 6 doorways. When one doorway, which were object impinge on it, it conditioned it to experience that, not the object before that.
Yeah, so the increase or the developing are to be aware of more of these moments without an eye.
That is thinking again.
Yes, that's thinking, I know. In this moment, it's thinking.
So we have to understand what is meant of development.
Yes.
Developing of what? Understanding. Understanding of what? Of what is there appearing now. Remember that it's so very rapidly arising and falling away until it appears as nimitta of everything. So everyone lives in the world of nimitta. But the truth is that what conditioned the nimitta to be as the nimitta of this or nimitta of that, living in the world of nimitta of everything in life from moment to moment. But what is the truth? One moment. We take it for one moment, but actually it's split seconds moment of seeing. See, that which does not impinge on the eye base cannot be seen. So how many seeings?
So how do we know that we grow?
Now, how many things is seen? You see through not only one.
So no growth.
And if there's no experiencing, can it appear? If nothing experiencing it. See, but now everything appears in details as well. Without seeing, nothing can be such a book or a table or glass. Each dot condition the shape and form of nimitta, of something.
So if we read or experience the dots more clearly, then
I or understanding the truth.
Yeah.
That what is there seeing is not thinking. Hearing is not thinking. Thinking is not sleeping. See, all are there in life unknown before until hearing about the truth of it and consider it. And considering is not right understanding, but it's right attention, careful considering. It has its function to manasikara or attend to the object wisely. Even now, at moment of understanding, there must be a moment of hearing with manasikara, understanding the shape of the sound, whether it's weak or low or high, to understand the meaning, follow just one process to another process. Each process is so very rapidly arising, changing, and until it's something there. But there are not only one something, so many around. That's why have confidence of in truth. It's the word of concept. As long as one does not understand what is the truth, how and what condition, concept or nimitta, until it appears well. And that is right understanding, developing, not purified in one ignorance and so on. It has to be understood from the very beginning what can purify ignorance, attachment, and all other unwholesome realities. Attachment is there now, who knows? We just talk about asana. There can be a little more about it. Who knows how many kinds of anusaya are there? Because there are 14 cetasika, unwholesome cetasika, but are them all anusaya? See? So when it's there, on and on and on, we understand that what is more in the moment, ignorance, attachment, and wrong understanding. That's why at moment of experiencing an object, what is there? It's there, ready to ooze at moment of experience that object because it's there. So great, so enormous. Avijja, no understanding has to be there. And among the realities which can arise with the ignorance and attachment in the day, right? Or dosa in the day. That's why to be truthful, that who knows that as soon as there is what experience there, attachment and ignorance is there instantly. Even we don't speak or say out, I, but it's I, because no one. And the experiencing, just experience. And without the experiencing, how can there be the idea of I? Not at all. So at moment of whatever experience, the idea of self is there, ready to ooze. See, as soon as. That's why there are 4 asava, avijjasava, and pavasava, and tittisava, and kamasava in the sensuous world.
And Carmen, you'll remember the simile of the adze handle.
And
Adze are like, it's a tool, a carpenter's tool. Have you heard this simile about how the carpenter, when he uses the tool regularly, after a while, the imprint of his hand appears on the tool. After many, many uses, right? His grip makes a mark. But one can't tell on a day-to-day basis how much has been worn away. Only after a period of time does it become apparent that the image, the shape of his grip has been worn into the wooden handle. So this simile is given to help us appreciate that the development of understanding is extremely gradual and cannot be known on a day-to-day basis. We would all like to know, is this awareness? Is this understanding? Is this what it means when Ajahn talks about one object appearing that is presently, one object being known that is presently appearing? But no one can say for you, for any other person, whether that's the case or not. But it requires the patience and the confidence that Ajahn also talks about to to happen. And this is why other people will not find this approach satisfactory, because they want to know quickly, they want results, they want to be able to tell that they are doing something that is on the right path. So we understand that this is really what the Buddha was talking about, and why he gave the simile of the adze handle, because it cannot, understanding develops imperceptibly, and it's only after a period of time that it can be appreciated that one's overall perception of the world has changed. And the sense in which it is said that dhammas are conditioned somehow becomes more appreciated, without having necessarily been able to spot any particular moment when that understanding was developed.
Thank you.
Mm.
Is there no I now?
There is an I.
See, until less and less attachment. And how can it be less? Not by our own thought, but to understand the truth of what is there. If there is no the reality which experiences it, it cannot appear at all. And what appears is different through the eye doors, ear doors, nose door, and so on. See, all are dhammas. But there is still the idea that I am hearing, seeing, and so on. What is right and what is wrong.
I think earlier you said, how do we know we grow? That is all about I. That is all about I. How do we know?
Of course.
Grow? And it's only understanding which understands anything about reality.
Sorry, your microphone, Sarah.
Can you hear me now? No? I think that's going to end probably not mine. Can you hear me now? Now it's okay. Yes. It's
Yes.
So anyway, the point is that it's only understanding which can understand whether it's understanding or not I that can ever know anything at all.
So be patient.
Needed.
We were just talking about the asavas, and Hung has a follow-up question.
Achan, you just mentioned about 4 kinds of asawa. It's the bhavasawa. So it seems like we understand about the kamasawa is the attachment through the sense door in daily life, but about bhavasawa, it seems too difficult to understand about the bhavasawa.
Would you like to die?
No.
Would you like not seeing anything at all?
No. Yes, it's the meaning of bhavasawa.
It's ready to come out, to ooze, whatever is there, by conditions, because the accumulation is so great. Even right now, it's unknown until it's strong enough.
Thank you, Achan.
Even a moment of seeing is the object of attachment, and I, the idea of I see, anytime from birth.
So the bhavasawa can arise within the sense door process. It can arise through the sense door.
Who knows? The doorway, each doorway, only that which is the nimitta, even of seeing, hearing, or whatever is there. The arising and falling away in split seconds. Can
Do you know what bhava means in this context?
I mean that it can arise within the sense the I. Yeah.
I'm asking about bhava.
Bhava,
Asava. What does bhava mean in this context?
in the context, I understand that it's attachment to the being.
Yes. Sometimes said becoming, but yeah, to being alive, attachment to living, but not specifically to a sensed or object.
We talked about even in the first process of life through the mind door, Alberto, even then, clinging to just existing, to bhava, to experiencing, or when first waking up. As soon as we wake up, there's just clinging to experiencing straight away, just living, and then to seeing, to hearing, so on. Can be instantly. Nana, who is sitting outside, asked me to bring up a topic for her. Nana is busy applying to different universities, and maybe sometimes her grade may not be quite high enough for the one she would like. And her question is, what is the harm of mana, conceit? Because we discuss about mana and the comparing with others. So I'll address it to Ajahn. Her question is, what is the harm? What is the danger of mana?
Only mana or ignorance. Without ignorance, can there be mana? So people just want to have such and such moment, but what about the conditions? As long as there is the idea of I, all unwholesome cetasikas are there, accumulated. Each moment of experiencing an object. How many processes of seeing right now, followed by ignorance and attachment and wrong understanding. Nothing appears well to ignorance. It appears as something all the time to be attached to unknowingly by conditions. When there's no unwholesome realities at all, no matter it is whatever seeing is, no attachment or no kilesa at all. Is that true? That is the development of understanding. When considered carefully and understand truthfully what is true.
And can we say also that when there's conceit, there's thinking of oneself, not of the other, of other beings. So whether one's conceited in the sense of thinking one's superior, or conceited in the sense of thinking one inferior, it conditions speech and actions in a certain way that are not considerate of another person. It's flying one's own flag, so by definition, it means less consideration for another. And conceit is one of the causes of discord between people. People easily take offense to comments made and react. So you could say it's the cause of wars between men too. If the ruler feels slighted by another ruler, he may go to war.
When there's mana, there's no metta, no kindness at all, no rejoicing in the good fortune of the other students who got the high results, no kindness or care for others around. But as Jonathan said, one is flying one's own banner, so one's feels slighted or embarrassed when it's not how one would like, if one's not being treated as one would like, and disappointment when it's not the result one would like. So instead of caring for the others and showing kindness, it's all about me and my importance, and it causes a lot of difficulties and disturbances in life. No friendliness at those moments of mana, and it's so common.
So does Arupa Brahma have conceit? See,
Not yet eradicated, so only the arahat is
No
no
one
more
there.
mana.
but still conceit is there about myself.
My understanding or experience, very subtle mana. Because we were discussing at breakfast about the anusyas, which Ajahn mentioned, the tendencies, the latent tendencies of akusala that don't arise. But while there are still those tendencies deeply embedded in the chittas, ready to condition all kinds of akusala, then mana is bound to arise. So until the anusyas, those latent tendencies have been eradicated at different stages of enlightenment, sooner or later, mana and other kinds of defilements will arise.
So what just now purify? Understanding only.
For much one might think of bhavana as following a practice or doing something or any kind of focus or meditation as it's usually thought about. It can never lead to any purifying. Only the understanding can lead to purifying. And that's why it is the development of understanding, which is the meaning of bhavana. Because it has to, from the beginning, be the understanding that these different dhammas, these different realities we're talking about, are all anatta, conditioned to arise and falling away instantly, not belonging to me or anyone else. It's not my mana when I compare my result with another. It's not my embarrassment. It's not my ignorance. They're just different dhammas arising and falling away.
And Jayati. Jayati, it is the same than bhavana. Jayati. I think that's the word. One time,
The development of samatha and insight.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's the same than
It's, yes,
bhavana. Any
bhavana.
different connotation?
As Jonathan said, bhavana can actually refer to the development of understanding in samatha, samatha bhavana, or the development of insight, vipassana, bhavana. So what usually when it is jayati, like go to the tree and develop calm and insight, it is referring to the development of understanding with calm. Actually, the higher calm is the calm that develops with understanding, but it can refer to development of samatha bhavana and vipassana bhavana together. But calm arises with all kinds of kusala, and the adhicitta, the higher calm, is the calm that develops with the understanding of realities. So this is why Ajahn was referring to bhavana as the development of understanding, because calm is there already developing with understanding.
Tambak, when you said the word jayati, I'm not sure if you mean jayati or jayati, because they're two different words. One, jayati, just this Jayati, means to know. Jayati, of course, that relates to the word jhana, which is a different meaning entirely. So, which means sometimes translated as to burn, obviously the kilesa, as opposed to bhavati, which literally means to be or to grow. It's sometimes translated as to cause, from the causative verb bhavati, to cause to be, or cause to grow. So there are many different words there, and the most important thing is not necessarily the word as we know, because it always has to be come back to understanding, is we need to always look at the context of where those different words appear, so that we can know what they really mean or what they understand. So context will be a big will be a determining factor also.
Thanks, Sundra.
And Nina,
just one comment. Sorry for me, obviously, but jayati is a verb, whereas bhavana is a noun. So they're not synonyms.
Sorry, Jonathan, can you say that again, please?
I was just making comment to Tambak.
Oh, I see.
Jayati is a verb, whereas bhavana is a noun.
Okay, but just on that subject, I was thinking, I'm not too sure what Tambak was referring to. Was referring to jayati, which is the JH, completely different consonant, to jayati, which is JH, JA.
I believe she was referring to jayati.
Which was so I can't hear your pronunciation clearly, Jonathan. So you're referring to what?
The JH one. The JH.
JH, yeah, jayati, okay.
Nina, do you have a topic or question you'd like to bring up today?
Well, exactly the question on Bhava. I had the same, because we were reminded so much of the asavas in one of the sessions. And I found that very helpful, because we have no idea that there is asava straight after seeing and after hearing. So I found it very useful, but we can't try to know the asavas. That is to know by coming in. But I found it so helpful to be reminded of the asavas, since we have no idea that there is just now, after hearing or seeing, that there is already the asava, like bhava, attachment to being or existing, or any other, like ditasava, wrong view, or ignorance, or clinging to sense objects, one of the four asavas.
Is it a question, Nina?
No, I was happy to be reminded of the asavas, since I had no idea. It's so quick and so short to those moments.
And Nina, I'm not sure that it's mentioned because we need to think about the fact that there are asavas arising at the present moment. I think the purpose of mentioning the asavas is that just because they don't appear doesn't mean they're not there.
Right.
Someone who has developed a lot of kusala, for example, may assume that the agosala is no longer arising. Certain kinds of agosala, but no longer. But we know because of the teaching on asavas that unless and until it's been finally eradicated, they are arising in subtle form.
So it's very good to be reminded that they're there. Yeah, even we have no idea.
That's why when a friend a couple of days ago said, oh, no attachment now in the Dhamma discussion, but actually it's there. It's now, at this very moment. There's ignorance now, there's attachment now. All the asavas oozing out. Bhavasava too.
Is it no idea or some idea? But it's so very subtle. That's why we learn what is subtle and what is wrong enough to be known, that it has to be known at moment of jhana. See, even it's so subtle and not only one process. As long as it does appear, it's not strong enough to be known. But when it's known, it's not asava, right?
Yeah.
We also heard that even seeing is so subtle because no one sees. So I found that also a point to consider more.
That's why this is the intellectual understanding to condition moment of attention, even just thinking about it. As in a day who think about it, the experiencing always there, but what is seen is always something. No attention at all, no thought about the reality which is achieved. We can say the world is under it, because if there's no reality which can experience the object, how can any object appear? But when object appears, attention is to that which is experienced. In a day from birth, who thought about that which sees or hears now? In truth, to be true, to the truth. That's why Buddha taught about the characteristic of that which experiences the object to be known at level of intellectual understanding yet, and also intellectual understanding has to be so very skillful of the Four Noble Truths. Because what are the Four Noble Truths? See, we know by words, but what about moment of developing understanding of that which sees? Otherwise, we don't talk about the path, the fourth of the Arya Satya, the four Arya Satya. So now it's not enough just to learn about what arises and falls away now is so true, is dukkha. Even the dukkha, the arising and falling away, does not show up at all, but begin to understand. It has to be so, because moment of seeing is not moment of hearing or thinking intellectually. So we go on talking about ignorance as asava, see, and attachment, to understand that as long as it's there, the tittasava, wrong understanding, there cannot be the enlightenment of the truth. That's why understanding that it has to be less and less attachment to what is seen, by hearing again and again, to have firm confidence of the impermanence of whatever arises and falls away. And then what about the path to begin to develop, to understand that this is the path, no other path at all. Just a moment of right understanding is the path. And any moment without right understanding, it cannot be the path at all. Because right understanding only can begin to develop to understand the truth little by little, stage by stage, until no doubt about the teachings of the Buddha at moment of Satipatthana. See, without understanding, it's impossible for Satipatthana to arise. And we talk about different kinds of realities like Citta and Cetasika and right understanding and wrong understanding. So right understanding is not the word, but it's the moment of understand what is there, which is the first noble truth, the second, the third, and the path, and the last one. Otherwise, what everyone knows, Citta is there and here all the time, each moment, but never get closer to the truth of it to be known. So the path is how to consider the truth. As long as there is wrong understanding, taking the Citta as someone or I, it cannot attain the truth, which even that arises and falls away. Does Citta arise and falls away? Who knows? And what about the object? It's different. That's why it's some idea about the reality which now arises and experience the object. And this is the subtle path. Who knows? Just talk about the truth, that it's there to be known. To condition moment of beginning to attain now or no at all, depending on conditions. It's there, it's now, it experiences the object, but it's not that which is experienced. Begin to see the difference between the characteristic of what is there. That which is seen is not the seeing. And seeing now appears, but not clear understanding of even seeing which appears. So how can there be clear understanding of that which experiences what is seen? That's why the certainty of the truth has to be firmer and firmer to condition moment of suddenly, instantly. It's the moment of directly aware with understand so very little of what is there right now by conditions. So the characteristic of sammasati, right awareness, shows little by little that is different from no attention to the object which appears at all. Is it subtle? That is the path to understand that even the path leading to realize the truth of what is there right now is so very subtle. It's not just try very hard to concentrate on it just for it to appear impossible. No.
Going and big.
Yes. First of all, let me send my thanks to Ajahn, Sarah, and John for your teaching about Buddhist. So after listening about your teaching, reality at the moment, so I had a questions. What is the seeing at the moment? I want to listen more about this.
So it has to be the moment of seeing when it's there, right? If there is no seeing, can there be time to understand it? But now there is seeing, but no understanding of seeing, right? So what is seen appears. How can it appear? it appear to what? What appears now appears to what? See?
Now there is seeing. Seeing experiences what is visible, but is it known that it is seeing now? Is there any understanding of seeing now?
No, sorry.
Because if there is no understanding of seeing, what experiences seeing? No understanding, that means there must be what?
No understand about
No
seeing.
understanding, exactly. So the opposite of understanding is no understanding, or we can say ignorance in Pali, avidya. So there is seeing now, but not enough understanding. So there is ignorance, no understanding of seeing. But the seeing now, it's just the reality which arises, sees what is visible and then gone. Is it your seeing or my seeing? Can you see anything?
No, just Jita experience about the visual objects and arise and fall away immediately.
Exactly. So I cannot see, you cannot see. Chitta arises when it is time, sees what is visible, and then is gone. And it depends on many conditions, whether the seeing is known by understanding or just known by ignorance, not known, but just appears to ignorance, is experienced to ignorance. But beginning to consider at the moment, as you are, about the nature of seeing, how it's not I that sees, but it's just the reality which arises, sees what is visible and then gone. This is the beginning of understanding seeing now. Is it the same as what is visible or a different reality?
Yes.
Because there's one reality, the seeing, which experiences, and the other reality, the visible object that is seen. So we learn there are two kinds of realities, those realities which experience an object, such as seeing or hearing, and those realities that don't experience anything, such as the visible object or the sound. And beginning to consider the different realities that are in life now is the beginning of considering no one there, no big, no gung, no anyone who experiences, and no thing like a computer or table that is seen or heard. Just seeing which arises, sees what is visible, and then gone.
Yes, you mean according I understand, you said is the right way to understand every reality, right now.
Discussing about these different realities, considering what is life now, is the way that understanding develops, because life is just at a moment of seeing. There is no hearing, there's no thinking, there's no mana, conceit, there's no attachment, just seeing which sees. This is the world just one moment, one reality which arises and falls away. And then another moment and another moment. So life is just existing in one moment only. Beginning to consider about the different dhammas, the different realities, each one anatta, is the way that there is the beginning of understanding, a little letting go of the idea of I that sees and hears and thinks and so on.
Yes. So I have second question is how can I have a right understanding for developing kusala in daily life?
Is there a you to have anything?
According listening from Buddhist teaching, I understand no.
So it's the right understanding itself which has to develop from the considering and reflecting like now. So the understanding itself understands, but it doesn't belong to me or Ajahn or you or anyone, because it's just a Dhamma. And like the seeing, it just arises by its conditions and falls away. This is the way understanding can develop a little through wise consideration and reflection, listening to good friends, reading carefully to understand it's not my understanding. And instead of thinking, oh, can I have more understanding to get rid of defilements? What about just understanding because it's so precious to understand whatever appears, no matter it's seeing or hearing or kusala or akusala, they're all conditioned realities. Otherwise, there is clinging to getting rid of the defilements and to having more kusala. So just let the understanding develop little by little, not I try to have understanding.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I just want to mention that we met Bic when we were in January, when we were in Vietnam, and at that time she didn't speak any English, and she has been studying English just for the sake of listening to the Dhamma in English. So we appreciate it very much, Bic.
And I have a quick question for Bic. Bic, you
Video.
asked about developing kusala in daily life. So my question is this. Sorry, I'll turn my image on. My question is, does kusala arise in daily life? Is there kusala in one's daily life now? Or is it all akusala?
Yes, in daily life, I think there are many kusala and akusala arise.
Yes.
So it's almost a lot of akusala.
Right. And is it known which moments are kusala and which are akusala?
I think akusala is arise with dosa, lobha, and moha.
Yes, but do we know which moments are kusala and which are akusala? Like now at this present moment? Is that something that is known? Or is there not really the understanding of, by their nature, the kusala and the akusala?
Yes, sometimes in my daily life, I also confuse with kusala and akusala chitta, because sometimes I offer for a monk, maybe with lobha chitta arise.
So if it's not known, if kusala is not known as different from akusala, then it's a little bit difficult to talk about developing kusala, because it's easy to think that if I do such and such as going to the temple or making a donation, being kind to other people, etc., that it should be kusala, but not necessarily. So it may not be so helpful to think of how we can develop more kusala in daily life, because we don't really understand which moments are kusala. And of course, we know strong akusala we know, but subtle akusala we don't know and cannot distinguish between kusala and subtle akusala. But if it comes to...
Sorry for interrupt. You said strong. We may know, right? But it is what I understand what you just said. Strong, we know.
We can be sure of when it's strong akusala, like when we get angry, we know that that must be akusala.
We know, not we understand, right? We know. Huh?
Just know, just conventional knowledge. It's not understanding of the characteristic or the signature mark of akusala, just conventional knowledge.
And it's taken for I, my anger, my attachment. That's why we want to get rid of it, because it's I. So it's not the understanding of the reality. And I think Zita we've got quite a few questions here. So Zita.
Okay.
I've heard often the reality. It's not. If it's any closer, it'll be behind me. I have it in my mouth. That again. Heard often said, reality has arisen already. And I'm wondering what this means in relation to what? The reality has arisen already. So what does that mean in relation to what?
So we have to understand, first of all, what is a reality?
Well, the reality is, I understand, is it can be liking.
Now, what is there any reality?
Yes, there's
What
reality.
is that?
Seeing.
It has a reason.
And so what is it that, so it's I that thinks, oh, I'm the seeing. It's that reality arisen already is not yet known.
All the time.
All
What
the
is
time,
there?
all the
Has a
time,
reason, but no understanding.
Okay.
So no one has to do anything at all, because there is no understanding of what is there already appearing by conditions. And we try to find the truth of the reality which hasn't arisen yet. So how can there be the understanding of what is there now? Because it's there. It has a reason already and falls away already too. And that is the truth that can be realized. That's why we learn to understand what, not the word, but the truth of what is there appearing. And we talk about the reality which experiences an object every time. Just talking about seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. Close one's eyes. What is there? Close my eyes. In order to understand whether there is anything. See, close your eyes. Is there anything? Really? See, really? It has to be considered. There is a reality experiences the object. Unknown. Unknown. See, it's there, unknown. Until we talk about it, to consider whether there is such reality, no shape, no form at all. But without it, no experience at all. Just like hardness and whatever is taken for chair and food and so on. But close one's eyes, it's there. The idea of it's there is there. So there is a reality for sure. Otherwise, how can there be the idea of what is there? Right? It's there all the time. No thought about it. No words about it. Just talk about what is there. Experience something or someone or some story all the time. Meditation and so on and on. But what is there? A reality which is always there. Never absent. But it does not appear as that which is seen or heard or smelled or tasted. But it's there. The nature of that which is there arises, experience an unknown object. Right? The same as sleeping. No object appears, but is there a reality which arises and experiences the object from birth? So there can be the understanding of different moments. The moment when it's there, but no object of experiencing appear. So it's there to be known as there is a reality, which we call it citta or vijnana. And when it experiences an object, different conditions, condition is from that moment to experience the appearing, the object which appears. Now it's there. Before that, it's there, not see at all. But it's there, experiences the object, unknown. Before seeing, there must be that moment to be known. And it can be known. Otherwise, how can it be citta-nupassana satipatthana? Only citta is the object of awareness of that characteristic with understanding that it's there. So how about moment when it appears? No object which is seen or heard or smelled or anything at all. Only that characteristic appears. No I at that moment. Stage by stage. Just the first moment of experiencing it, it's not enough. It has to apply that life is just like that. Anytime, no matter it sees, hears, or no seeing, no hearing, but it's there. Is that true? Just consider, close your eyes, no sound, not now that sound appears. But before the sound appears, it's there. The unknown object, the same object at moment of birth and moment which follow birth, experience the same object until it changed from the unknown object to experience that object which now appears. If there is no reality before seeing, as we said, there can never be any experiencing of anything at any time at all. See, we talk about citta, it's there all the time, and now it sees and then it hears. But the object of seeing is not the seeing. That sound is not the hearing. And we just keep that in mind. It experiences sound, but does it appear? Even it's there all the time. It experiences different objects by conditions. Even the object is not seen, thinking. It changes the object, not to see the object, but to think about it. Different conditions. That's why now different processes, mind processes, and that moment, Pawanka, we call it Pawanka, but it's moment when the object does not appear, and then mind process. That's why in split seconds, so many people, but only one moment at a time. Different by conditions.
You mentioned thinking. So if just waking up in the middle of the night, it's very dark, it's very quiet. But I know I'm not dead because
because
there's
it's
something.
there.
There's something.
Yeah, it's there. What we are talking about, citta.
Right, citta.
Mhm.
And the expression you asked about, it's the reality has arisen already. Usually it's in the context when someone would like to be aware of hardness or of breath or of chitta or any reality, but it's there already. So by the time there's thinking of attending to a particular object, countless realities that are already there have arisen and fallen away. In other words, no need to go looking for a reality to experience. And this is why it's useless to focus on an object, observe an object, concentrate on an object, because it's not the understanding of the reality that has arisen already at this moment.
So that's different to, I have to concentrate or I'll get on the wrong bus. That is what you're saying, you're saying you don't have to do anything or concentrate on anything.
That's a conventional example. If there is the idea of concentrating on hardness while walking, to be aware of hardness, it's not the understanding of what has arisen already. Or if there is the idea of being aware of Vedana, what about now? What about what has arisen already by conditions? The attachment now, the dosa now, the seeing now, the hearing now. So the understanding has to be of what appears now, what has already arisen, not what I would like to be aware of.
Okay, yeah, there is a difference. Yeah, thank you.
There can be a little more understanding of we live in the world of nimitta. Understand what is meant by nimitta. Now. One dot of visible object cannot be anything. So we live in the world of nimitta because this succession of what is experienced from moment to moment. Conditioned sound and sight and thought.
Has a question she'd like to bring up.
Achan, Sarah and John, well, it is not just one question because it linked to another question. Can I have two? So the first thing is that I heard Achan often refer to the present moment about the seeing, what is seen. And you also mentioned that the seeing is not appeared to be known, just the object, as I understand, just the visible object is appeared to be known.
Is that true?
I follow it and I notice that it's true.
So it becomes clearer and clearer when
Yes.
there is the understanding that whatever appears is not citta. It's
No.
that which citta experienced.
Right, because citta is not yet appeared to
Is that
be
right?
known.
Is that right?
Yes.
And that is the development of understanding.
Yes.
To get closer to understand that which does not appear a little bit more and more.
Yes. So then it is referred to the second. My question is that we talk about the asava. There are several levels of the. I think I have to check up. The asava is meant the fermentation. Anusaya is the tendency, and gati is the character and habits.
Now,
So,
can just one process appear?
a process we cannot.
Just one process only.
Yeah.
Now, so many processes.
Right.
But can just one process appear?
No, we still mix up.
And what is there after seeing, Sampatichana, Sandrina, and Votapana? What is there?
We don't know.
Asava.
So it is asava, but well, we cannot notice.
Okay,
Sorry.
is there asava right now?
Yes,
You know asava then.
I don't think I know.
You understand what asava is, that it has to be asava.
Has to be, yes, but we don't know
No
it
need
yet.
to try to have it appear. Where it does not appear, it does not appear.
Yeah.
That there can be the understanding of vitaka cetasika, vichara cetasika.
Mhm.
They do not appear
No.
as one.
Yeah. But what about other character and habits? We can see that because they are so obvious, then we can learn to understand about asava through all these habits and characters in the daily life.
Is that the idea about it? Or learning to understand it, it's there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One process at a time.
Yes.
On and on and on, conditions such accumulation.
Yes. Okay.
To be kamasava or avijjasava.
We still don't know. Just through the conventional learning like this.
What is there so ready to come out? When time comes, it rests on. Okay. But it's so very, very weak, unknown.
Yeah.
Clarify one point, because I think you mentioned levels of asavas. You may be referring to levels of defilements. So the anusyas are the unwholesome tendencies that don't arise, that are latent, but because they haven't been eradicated, they condition the arising of a kusala. So the asavas are the very, very slight, very subtle attachments, different kinds of attachment and ignorance that is so slight it's not known. And only when the different asavas are eradicated at different stages, beginning with the ditthasava, wrong view, which is eradicated at the first stage of enlightenment. But only then will there be no more arising of the asavas, of that particular asavas. Only the arahat is kinasava, without any asavas. And because of the accumulation of the asavas and all the other defilements, there is the arising of the ordinary defilements that we have some knowledge about, like the attachment when we're eating lunch, or the irritation or disturbance when we hear a loud noise, for example. So this is the ordinary common defilements, which are stronger than the asavas, which are unknown. And the accumulation of the ordinary attachment and aversion and ignorance, conditioned by those anusayas not yet eradicated, conditions the stronger defilements. When the attachment is so strong, it can lead to harming another, stealing, telling lie, for example. Only then is it strong enough that it can bring results in future. So different levels of defilements. The anusayas are the defilements that don't arise at all. The asavas are the ones that are so subtle, not known at all, even conventionally. And then there are the ordinary ones in daily life, like Jonathan andGung said, we know when there's anger, but it's taken for eye instantly, but usually not strong enough to kill or harm another. So only when it's so strong will it bring results.
So who is sitting?
There is no one.
Really? Not you anymore.
For now,
Unknown,
this
so
is me.
very quick. The idea of self, ditthasava is there. Avijjasava is there. See?
Yeah.
That's the idea. Even you don't speak out. I'm sitting, but what is that? I
I'm just
am
answer
sitting.
as I learned.
How quick it is.
It's the impression,
Yes.
instantly unknown.
Sarah, I'd like to ask another thing about this. So, does it mean that asava is there? Everyone have the same?
Is it now?
Yes. But you know that because of all the characters and habits that show up every day are different from this person to that person. So the tendency accumulated by each person are different. Then the asava are also different or the same.
If the ditthasava Ajahn just mentioned hasn't been eradicated, no matter who we are talking about conventionally or what habits or mannerisms we see, no matter whether someone may appear very calm and wise or someone may seem very flustered, ditthasava is there, unknown. So we cannot tell by the outer appearance at all. But what we know is that the asavas are arising all the time after seeing and hearing and so on until eradicated.
Just another quick thing.
We talk about the different charita and different characters, but who has no lobha, who has no dosa, even if someone never seems to get angry? What about when there are conditions? What about someone comes into the room and starts shouting, or next life? Who knows? So the tendency is there because the anusaya hasn't been eradicated.
Want to confirm my hearing yesterday that Ajahn mentioned about the 3 moments after seeing. So are these the 3 moments related to asava or what?
It's the first moment of a process which does not experience the unknown object anymore.
The very first moment after we see the object.
Before seeing
it is before the seeing, there must be a visible object appearance.
There must be the chitta which adverts to the object, and then the moment of seeing. So there must be the first chitta in the process that experiences that visible object.
Okay.
The adverting consciousness, and then the seeing.
So this is referred to the process of the
and
chitta.
the 3 more moments. There must be 2 more chittas that follow, which are also vipaka chittas, and 1 more chitta before the asavas can arise with the akusala chittas in that process.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Adverting adverting consciousness, that could also be cast as its original ready, like my question.
So what is viticita?
The viticita is the process of
1 moment. Can it be viticita?
No.
Why not?
1 moment.
Yeah.
I thought viticita was just the whole
moment before
the
object appear or experience. That's why there is citta, which is not viticita, vitimutta citta, and the citta which is viticita. That's why we count in a process how many viticita. So citta, which is not viticita, is the moment when citta experiences the unknown object. And by condition, whether it's sound or visible object impinge on the basis, it changes because it's conditioned to experience that which impinge on it, because its function is just to arise and experience whatever is there by condition. When there is no sound yet, no hearing, it experiences the unknown object. Until sound is there impinge on the ear base, the first viticita. It cannot see, but it knows just what is there. Like someone at the gate, not seen yet, but that can be the moment of what is there at the gate.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
And that is viticita. So viticita is the citta which is not bhavanga and patisanti citta and death citta. Other citta must be viticita. At moment of different object is there, no matter it is seen or not yet, but it doesn't have the unknown object anymore.
We're going to finish soon, but does anyone who hasn't asked a question wish to ask a question?
Okay.
We have 1 year.
We talk about the asava is so difficult, right? So back to the points that pandara of citta is the asava pandara.
Its asavas are chaitasikas.
Or cittasika.
4 chaitasika, 3 chaitasikas, lobha, ditthi, and avijja, ignorance. Pandara refers to the nature of citta. Yes, only of citta, the citta which is pure or clean. Only the citta is pandara, pure, clean, innermost.
It's pure.
Why it pure? Does it just experience anything?
It's not cetasika.
Okay.
It's tainted. by the asavas when they arise, by the defilements when they arise, but the chitta itself is always pandara.
No matter whether it arises with any kind of cetasika, chitta itself is pure.
But at the moment of the sleepy, chitta also pandara, right? But at any moment.
Anytime. Chitta itself is pandara. Is there aswa now?
Yes.
Yes. Who knows? Yeah, but it's there.
Is there pure chitta now
Yes.
at each moment?
At the moment, yeah.
Oh, yes, just an announcement for those at home and here. So tomorrow, Tuesday, as scheduled, afternoon session. Wednesday, as scheduled, all-day session, morning and afternoon. Thursday and Friday, there is a switch. Instead of Friday being all-day session, Friday will be half day, but Thursday will be all day.